get some work done and you don't see like a Hyman right on turn 6, Warrior's typically going to have a pretty big lead. Ragnaros, a pretty important card in this matchup. 2 Acolytes is a bit much. I don't think you want to see 2 of them, but Tides of Time's draw is not too stellar right now. Like Flare and Tracking are going to stunt his development a little bit, so I expect to see a lot of hero powers. And when he draws a second bow here, I now expect him to play this matchup a lot more aggressively, I think, than he would tend to. So you're going to see just basically close to reckless aggression, I think, from him. When he's got this 12 damage in his hand and he doesn't have a lot of stuff to kind of scale into the mid game, I think he's going to have to take an aggressive approach.
Yeah, because what you really want as a hunter, you want as many minions as possible in the beginning to just spawn the board and exhaust Warrior's removal. But if you're not providing minions, like cards like Eaglehorn Bow, where they are fantastic versus Rogue, versus Warrior, you want to get them a bit later. Also, when if you're getting traps, those Warrior is not triggering your traps that often. It's just, you know, waiting, armoring up, dealing with the board easily.
Yeah, but Reynad did get very important information that there's 2 freezing traps, so freezing trap can be very problematic.
He does have an explosive trap. We didn't see what his 3rd trap was.
True,
last game.
Mad Scientist never got. Oh, wait, Mad Scientist died, right? But
yeah, we never actually
okay.
saw what the trap was. We didn't get a hover over, so it could have been this explosive trap, but it still wouldn't surprise me to see like 1 snake trap. Snake trap doesn't really strike me as a Tides of Time kind of card, though. It's just like he likes cards that do exactly what he plans for them to do, which is like freezing trap is going to return their minion, explosive trap is going to prevent you from getting attacked in the face, but snake trap is like your opponent has a lot more liberty, and when they discover it's snake trap, it really puts a lot of leverage. It kind of puts you on the back foot unless you have a really fortified board position.
That explosive trap is pretty bad versus Warrior, but on the other hand, it is a trap, so Reynad will have to play around it when it's being played.
Yeah,
that might will destroy his plan a bit, but still.
Eaglehorn Bow typically in this matchup really serves the same kind of purpose that Fiery War Axe does in Warrior. It's like a removal spell. But in this matchup, again, it's basically 6 points of damage and trying to figure out a way to get some work done. So here, it's very likely to attack this Acolyte of Pain, but he's already committed to going for face, so the fact that he's going to have to deviate from that game plan if he wants to keep his minions alive, that really starts to hurt exactly where his game plan's at. So, you know, he just lost 3 points of damage here. He gets to weave in a hero power or 2, but this is the point where if he doesn't really start getting some power draws, he's gonna fall really far behind.
Yeah, another trap pickup could just basically mean he has nothing to do. It's extremely passive once these minions die out. Sludge Belcher draw ain't half bad either.
Yeah, that's a fantastic card to block the Hunter. But on the other hand, Tides of Time is tracking, so he might fish for something on turn 5.
Oh, wow.
So bad.
2 copies of explosive, 2 copies of freezing. Yeah.
I think I just said that 2 traps is probably the worst card you can draw.
Explosive trap is a worse one too, even, by the way, because freezing trap could actually, you know, it could stunt some damage here. Hunter's Mark, 2 explosive traps, 2 freezing traps.
So he's well equipped to defeat because he's not banning Warlock.
This might be like a 1 Savannah Highmane version.
Yeah,
interesting.
It could be topping out at a very low amount of late game power.
What do you guys think about picking Kill Command here and try and like just use your hero power as more like using your hero power and explosive, playing that explosive trap because Reynad will be obliged to try what trap it is, and just try to burn Warrior down.
I like taking the Hunter's Mark here because you get the second copy of Eaglehorn Bow, which is already 6 points of damage. You're going to pick up an extra card from your loot hoarder that's on the board, and you're going to get to take out a Sludge Belcher. So you get to stem some damage, and you get to push again with your Eaglehorn Bow, which eventually your opponent is going to have to attack you. So these explosive traps are going to get activated. The problem is they just don't get much value. So if he gets the second bow online, is able to get some value from his traps before he just ends up dying to like a Ragnaros or like Alex Straza, just, you know, swinging the life totals a bit too much, I think he's in a pretty good position. So I think his hand is a little bit more forced here than you would typically think it is. But
I'm having nightmares about how long Sludge Belcher's animation takes.
Okay. Yeah. I think Tides is pretty good about that. I don't think I've ever actually seen him skip a turn or lose an action to Rogue. That's me personally. Has that happened?
No, I haven't seen that. Like Tides of Time is a mobile player, so his actions is super fast. Like he waits for the rope and then like clicks on everything.
Yeah. I think that was a pretty tough turn too. He had a lot of different ways he could go with that. I like the one he took though. I am a little bit surprised he chose to use the Eaglehorn Bow over using the Loot Hoarder, but his game plan is kind of still in line. It's like just the 2 repetitive damage that he's getting from that does make a lot of difference. And Reynad's going to continue to swing this board back in his favor. So, again, if Tides doesn't draw like a Savannah Highmane right here, he's about to lose his ability to actually stabilize his board.
Mad Scientist is not shareable, and he has to silence the 1/3. Or do you just keep the Iron Beak and try to aim for something like Sludge Belcher?
I think that Mad Scientist is not very good here. He definitely doesn't want to. He doesn't want to just like suicide his Mad Scientist for the Cruel Taskmaster, which Reynad, he's going to attack the Cruel Taskmaster into the Mad Scientist. So he'd rather lose this he'd rather have this 2/2 die first and then play the Mad Scientist than the other way around. So this is just like one of those Hunter's turns where you don't really do anything. And even just the fact that he's got to use Explosive Trap to start dealing extra damage, but at the same vein, he's giving his opponent extra cards. Like, this is a trade-off that Reynad's going to think about now. And he's actually going to choose to forego that, which this is probably the best response to a turn like this, because it stunts your opponent's ability to actually burst you down. So you can wait till you draw Armor Smith, maybe get a shield block online, maybe until you have Alexstrasza and you can afford to take a bunch of damage in one turn.
It's very important because you're not the one who is aggressive being a warrior, and you don't want to give the additional durability in the weapon.
Yeah. Second Cruel Taskmaster.
Plus, now he knows that. Well, maybe now he's just trying to make sure not to give extra charges and take these damages. And he gets close with that Ragnarok's turn, where it does put a very final clock. You see the 28 health from Hunter, but that is deceiving because he does have the weapon, he does have ways to do damage and even remove. So I think restraining here was probably the best course of action. But now, where do we go from here? The trap's still live, and he still hasn't tested for it.
Yeah, I mean, freezing trap is still the thing he's thinking about. I think most, like, apparently. Wow, this would be really. I think this would be really strange.
Well, he's probably not playing around Explosive Trap. He is.
I don't think he's playing around it either, but I think you should. Like, why wouldn't you just use the Acolyte here? Unless he's just going to continue to not attack.
Snake Trap?
I mean, that's very consistent with his game plan, is to not attacking. So.
Well, I think he was afraid of Snake Trap to a certain degree.
Yeah,
he's not even willing to test for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's continuing to try to choke out this bow. So it's just consistency with his game plan, which is something I do like to see, is when people take a line that they follow through on that and try not to deviate backwards, because that's when you start seeing really heavy dips in your lines.
Well, he has a very good game plan because Ragnar is one of the most powerful cards against the Hunter. You just play it and then pass turns and not trigger the trap.
And then you just wait, because now he doesn't have to do anything. You just wait on his opponent's turn, and the 8 damage pressure is a very realistic thing. I mean, it's a clock for 2 or 3 turns where you might die.
8 damage a turn is a clock? No, that's barely anything. It's only like a third of your fourth of your life.
It's a watchtower. It's not even a clock. It's the big thing you see in Sherlock Holmes.
That's like taking a shower around the flame floor.
Wow, Tides is going all in here. Definitely can't say I disagree with this. I think like maybe he has like a Leroy in his deck or something. We haven't seen Unleash the Hound, so I don't think he has that card. Again, we've seen 4 traps from him so far. It's just a lot of stuff that he's had.
Is that an important draw, Shield?
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I think it's a very important draw because he is dropping low. So if TidesofTime is able to, well, we've seen double Q command, but if there is anything that can deal more damage, like
he's still worried about these traps. I mean,
it's true.
This is one of the reasons why. This is the only reason I probably would have triggered it, is because you're gonna have to trigger them anyway. But you know, he finds himself in this very similar position where he's very worried about triggering his opponent's traps and giving him too much damage. The shield block really important to help kind of follow through on that. But Alexstrasza is the next important card he needs to find, and Armor Smith has been important the entire game. He's yet to find it. I definitely think he is running it. I think it would be kind of weird to run Cruel Taskmaster and not run Armor Smith.
Is he? No, of course Armor Smith. If you're not going to ban Hunter, that's absolutely a card you're going to run. He's bouncing back a Cruel Taskmaster to his hand too, right? Because that still has some utility.
Well, do you want to bounce back to Cruel Taskmaster or the Acolyte ban? Because the Acolyte's silenced. Like maybe. Don't value the extra cards that much.
Wow. Well, he still has Execute for, because I think this is going to bounce. Oh, okay.
Wow.
He's just really going to try and outweight his opponent. Does he have Harrison Jones in his deck? Maybe he's trying to wait for it to disable his opponent's weapon.
Definitely a possibility. The other thing, too, is that Tides is just so low on cards, he doesn't really have that many important draws.
I really like the line.
He chose to play it like straight away right now. That is a little bit weird to me.
Well, now Houndmaster gets value, and this Undertaker powers up a little bit more.
Yeah. He's probably still just out of reach at this point, so I think Alexstrasza is fine. I mean, he did it so quickly, but he spent a lot of time thinking. Maybe he had already just thought, like, if I draw Alexstrasza, I know what I'm going to do afterwards.
Not to mention, he could have attacked with a weapon, recovered a little bit of health. Oh, no, he actually had 5 armor. Excuse me, never mind. That actually was perfectly sequenced. Another shield block.
Oh, man, this is, like, so one-sided for Reynad.
And he even has silence on this... onto the web spinner as well. I feel like he has the tools here to piece together a runaway.
Yeah, you have to trigger the trap at this point. Like now, the time has come. Like you have to start attacking for 8.
Right.
It's really important. Like you are going to sacrifice 5 points of damage to do this.
And he's going to find out it's explosive too, because Snake Trap's not going to pop. So he realizes he can use the minions on board to trade down as well.
It's not going to be misdirection. You don't expect misdirection in this metagame anymore.
Yep. And we've tested for snipe multiple times over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what a trap that is. Did he show anything on his facial expression?
Just kidding, guys. It's ice armor.
Look at that poker face. The poker face.
Yeah, he's in the zone right now.
One of the challenges and something I've been trying to work with Reynad personally is just speed up his thinking time. He sometimes takes way too long thinking about all the combinations.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Do you like ask him mathematical questions when he's taking a shower or something?
I boot camp him.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Koreans.
I do.
Well, that was a fast decision to attack with Alexstrasza.
Yep. Just trying to make sure not to lose anything inefficiently, but he will be able to efficiently remove pretty much everything on the board in the coming turns.
Wow.
All right, well.
Oh, he's actually going to go for execute.
Yep.
Shield blocks too, so he goes an opportunity cost too. I think it's just too much damage. Like at this point, it's like too much has happened. Like like the Alexstrasza draw was
massive.
It was like nail in the coffin.
Such a powerful
And he also got another shield block. He's got. I mean, this high main came just way too late. It's one of the best cards you can ever afford. But that was 4 turns. That ties with. He drew Undertaker. He drew an explosive trap. He drew a web spinner. He drew a Houndmaster that couldn't get value. It just burned out way too quickly for Tides, and he's just a candle ready to be put out.
This Hyman is just saying hi.
But,
like, hey,
honestly,
I'm in the deck. What's up?
This board possession is still a little bit threatening. He doesn't have lethal this turn, and he is facing down. This is a lot of counter damage. So like, if say Iron Beak Owl gets drawn for Tides of Time, that's like that's just a scary amount of damage. Like you can also like potentially take out this Alexstrasza next turn. Like so many different things can happen. So Sludge Belcher's definitely going to get played here, but again, Iron Beak Owl is just like it's just kind of a scary draw. Like so you're going to be armoring up. You're going to be like 1 point out of range, but in this game, the game didn't end this turn. Was kind of the point I was trying to make on this.
Yeah, that was a valid point.
Yeah, and you know what? The 4 health doesn't mean that if he attacks into the Sludge Belcher, it's over. So a small window of opportunity, perhaps. No, because he only has 11 damage then. Yeah, actually, he'd be 1 point damage off if it was Iron Beak Owl.
What could he draw here? Is there any card?
So I don't think there's anything whatsoever. And Tides is going to concede, which means this series is evened up, and we are going to go into Game 3.
Wow, what a game!
No surprise to see Warrior, I think, taking out Hunter. This is, again, kind of like a long-standing...
built for.
Yeah, this is like kind of a long-standing counter to Hunter. It's just got all the right tools to make sure that you disrupt their early game and then follow through in the mid-game. And, of course, Alexstrasza, like one of the most potent legendaries against this deck. Ragnaros, we didn't actually see it come into play, but it also a very important tool to deal with this. And what's really annoying from the Hunter's perspective is that in the end game, they're not returning Alexstrasza with like an attack from a freezing trap. They always have like a cool Taskmaster to do it, and you're like, oh, God, you killed a guy too, and you're triggering a trap. But I really like Reynad's patience in that game, making sure that he held on to his minions and didn't trigger these traps to get in a position where he would get bursted down really easily. It gave him the time to draw shield blocks and Alexstrasza. It's really good against Undertakers, even Haunted Creepers. Iron Beak Owl has really just kind of shown itself to be like one of the prominent cards in this metagame right now. It's just a really strong tool versus the most powerful cards that are available. Yeah, it's just kind of weird like that. In Tides of Time, I mean, I'm disappointed to see that it's handlock because I just hyped up how good Zoo was. I wanted to see him play it. But he's an excellent handlock player, and I think it's really good to be mixing this up from time to time.
Well, that's also because he might actually be playing that, mixing it up, and he was practicing with Striker and playing a lot of Zoo. So if you come into this matchup thinking, hey, Tides of Time has to play Zoo, he was playing a lot of Zoo, as you said, and now he's bringing
a push away from Taskmaster, so that means he might sense that this is handlock.
I think Iron Beak Owl is the only card in this matchup that you wouldn't mulligan regardless of which one it was. But everything else you're actually looking for Fire Ring Rex. You can't afford to play as though it's just handlock unless you actually have that information. So we get to the bad news on turn 1. It is handlock, and you don't have like a way to deal with like ancient. It seems to me like all the ancient Watcher draws are the best handlock draws, by the way. Like Mountain Giants are really good, but I always feel like I lose to the ancient Watcher draws.
Yeah, it's an innovated Yeti.
Yeah.
with a 2/1 somehow.
Yeah, look at that. It's like a 4/5. So fantastic card.
Do you ever use execute here, or do you just attack the 2/1 and then go from there?
I think I mean, this 4/5 is just so much pressure onto the board, and then it makes Like, the thing is, I think you have to save those removals as much as you can for big things, but there's also the very present threat at the moment that you can continue stack.
One of the reasons why I think you lose so much to Ancient Watcher draw is like I don't know how to deal with this. It's gonna pull removals so often that your bigger threats are gonna stick. And we actually, Reynad was up here. He's a really good handlock player too. He was talking a lot about this specific matchup where if you don't get one of these insane powerful starts that you want to weave in a ton of hero powers. I like that he's having to go with I like that he's using the execute here. Obviously, he's not very satisfied with it, but it's what he's got to do. The Ancient Watcher's just going to run away with the game.
Oh yeah, this is such a difficult decision because, as Roland said, removal is very important, and that's why handlock is a bad matchup for Warrior. You need to get the removal, you need to stack armor to be able to use Shield Slam to deal with Twilight Drakes, Mountain Giants. If you don't get removal, you're just getting stumped. The only chance you have is Brawl, but there is no Brawl right now, and you possibly can be aggressive as a Warrior and force Mountain Giants and then cast the Brawl, but right now he is really behind.
Yeah. Picks up Jiraxis to discard to his Soulfire in a bit here, but also really heads up play, making sure he takes out this Acolyte. The Acolyte was a really good draw. It didn't force a Defender of Argus, so this isn't the worst thing in the world. I feel like now he's going to start kind of putting together an offense, but Tides has got all the right tools, man. Yeah. Sludge Belcher, Twilight Drake, we've already seen the Owl going. He's got Siphon Soul for a big threat that's coming out, and then even when this all grinds down to nothing, he's got Jiraxis to make sure that he's got the fuel left to go. I think I got to give a big advantage to him, even though that Reynad has scaled all right, despite the Ancient Watcher.
Super interesting how aggressive Tides is in this matchup. He's just attacking Reynad. Like, he's more aggressive than the Hunter deck. With Hunter, he struggled, and here with Handlock, he's just dealing damage after damage.
This is a tough turn.
Yeah. Normally, you want to try and deal with Sylvanas as soon as possible, but use an Ironbeak Owl. And you don't want to necessarily give away such an easy... You can give away the Slime, for example, and then play a big minion. I feel like that might be the best way. I think giving away the 1-2 Slime isn't nearly as detrimental as potentially just letting her live.
The other thing, too, is Reynad's getting kind of low on life, so one of the best strategies when you get to this point is actually just, like, ignore Sylvanas and hope it takes something bad. So I would expect this Ancient Watcher to hit the table here. He's just going to go for face. Sylvanas actually isn't a direct threat to kill anything right now, even if the Sludge Belcher gets silenced. So he's got to figure out another way to make this get done. So if he has silence for this Sludge Belcher, the Death Spite doesn't activate this turn, so it doesn't get rid of it. He'd have to have something like Cruel Taskmaster Whirlwind. If you're Artosis, he could execute his own Sylvanas. Lots of different things could be happening this turn, but this...
can definitely silence like the Sludge Belcher, then attack with Sylvanas into a 4-5 maybe. Use the Taskmaster to kill the Sylvanas, and use the, like, even before attack with the weapon into 3.
Yeah. He's got some lines this turn, but again, it's just so much pressure that's coming out from this. Because when he has to use his weapon to attack something, it's more damage he's going to be taking. And Tides has Soulfire, he's got Jiraxis in his hand, he's actually got a pretty reasonable amount of burst that's getting put together.
So how do you win being Reynad here?
You probably have to get lucky with your Sylvanas. If you're going to do that play, I feel like he should have Cruel Taskmastered his opponent's Sludge Belcher first and ran Sylvanas into it.
Well, I think you can just keep Sylvanas alive for as much as possible, too.
That's another. I mean, this is another game plan. So two different game plans here. So I actually, for whatever reason, the idea of Cruel Taskmaster with Ivory Gal just had completely slipped my mind. So yeah, this line is actually way superior to what I just had. Shadow Flame a pretty dead draw here.
Yeah, but now it's like a continual awkward situation. I don't think Watcher is useful to Warrior, by the way. Is there any use for the Ancient Watcher?
Out when the Iron Beak Owl's gone, unless they have like a Defender of Argus in there, which sometimes it sneaks its way in.
Okay, or maybe if it's like a target to maybe lift the Brawl, I guess.
The Shadow Flame is not that bad because you can attack with the Defender of Argus and Shadow Flame. Like, you life up first to see what you get, but then you can just give the Watcher away.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking if the Watcher had any value whatsoever. It's just a glorified statue for some home decorating.
Whirlwind absorption for Armorsmith?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, maybe, if you want to. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an Ancient Watcher in my room.
I think there are no other ways to deal with this board.
Look, I just moved to California, man. I don't have much decoration, just white walls. Anything would suffice more than just...
I was just talking about this morning how I went to IKEA and I bought something, and like I'd called him to complain because a screw was missing from like one of the things I bought.
Yeah. So
like I was on the phone for like 4 hours. Eventually I got transferred to like a corporate office where the guy like had cussed at me into like making sure I didn't call the corporate office ever again to like get the guy the screw he's missing. And then like I like hung up the phone and like I was like pacing through my living room while it happened. I looked at the screws just like on the floor like where I'd been pacing. I was like, oh,
did you try to buy an
They didn't have
Watcher?
any Ancient Watchers.
Yeah,
wow,
definitely didn't have one.
Punchline. Well, he did end up using Shadow Flame, and Reynad's now the proud owner of a 2014 Ancient Watchers. But the problem is it loses a lot of value, even if it goes off the driveway.
It's golden, too. You'd think it'd have a lot of value.
No, their resale value is awful, let me tell you.
Nobody wants to.
That's why you don't want to buy. You only buy used Ancient Watchers. That's why it's more value.
Well, Reynad was able to regain the board somehow, so right now it's up to him to start dealing damage and building up.
It is. He has Gromosh, right? So he has ways to finish the game. Sometimes Warriors don't have Gromosh. And actually, in recent memory, Amaz didn't have Gromosh.
I was like, wow, you just really sticking it to him. I already stuck it to him yesterday. I was like, oh, 2 lockdown. What this guy's being does right now?
Well, you know, Mountain Giant here seems pretty much the way to go, but you're expecting your opponent to be able to deal with this, right?
At this state of the game, yes.
Right now, it's super easy.
Oh, wow, that's a really important one. Yeah,
all right.
That's a really big one.
Oh,
Harrison
Jones
for that Jiraxis.
Wow.
He really needs that right now.
I mean, his hand is going to be looking pretty empty after
Yeah, if he
that.
doesn't draw 7 cards this game, this isn't the game I wanted to see.
I mean, will it get to the stage, though, where if drawing those cards actually puts you so deep into fatigue, you kill yourself?
We saw Teray do that at Worlds, actually. He held onto a Doomhammer forever until Harrison Jones just couldn't get played.
Right, and then he wouldn't attack with it. He would attack with it once instead of twice because he knew it was a really difficult
So his opponent was not only missing the value on being able to draw, but he was also missing the ability to have a 5/4 body on the board. He just had 1 less card that
Well, Harrison Jones is a double-edged sword. We've seen Harrison Jones being played by Gara only to lose the game versus Tyson L and the DreamHack first final. It's a tough card.
This is a loaded board. Reynad actually has lethal set up next turn if everything held serve and nothing changed on Tide's side, so he actually has to be somewhat defensive in this position. Can't really take initiative and just slam another giant.
Well, Tides probably saw that there is a possible lethal if Gromosh is in hand.
Sure. Well, he's well aware of it. I mean, Tides is also one of the premier Warrior players in North America. He's a guy who's refined the deck a lot. He is actually a big fan of the deck, too.
He was playing Leroy instead of Ragnaros at some point.
Oh, Gorehowl.
Gorehowl. Wow, he plays Gorehowl as well. You know, Reynad actually played this deck a lot on ladder, and I was surprised to see him go with so many choices like Gorehowl. I'm actually a little caught off guard that he liked Gorehowl so much that he kept it in his tournament deck.
It's a card that's really good, not only in Warrior Mirrors, but in situations like this where it turns into these grind fests, where neither of you have a ton of burst. You have some burst, but not like a Druid-style burst where they're going to be able to deal 20, 24 points of damage sometimes. So Gorehowl really helps you maintain a pretty big presence and control of the board a lot of times, and I don't know if we've seen 2 Deathbite yet or not, but there's a lot of times when a Gorehowl's in here, it's replaced one of the Deathspites. So you didn't actually take up another slot in your deck. You've instead scaled upwards into having a Gorehowl for situations like this.
Look at this armor. It's super interesting that even though TidesofTime was super aggressive in the beginning, and Reynad just regained all the life.
That's Warrior, man.
And he's getting that high enough health where Molten Giants are still a little bit too slow to be played. And Gorehowl being set up is still super scary considering how Gromosh can be activated.
Just look how good Gorehowl is versus Sludge Belcher. Like, this is just so disgusting. It's like, you feel so bad playing it right now.
By the way, you asked about Ancient Watcher value. Here it is. With Armor Smith, it is value.
Yeah, it's actually gained him an extra
see, now it's
so
a used Ancient Watcher. Now it's fine to get back.
Yeah, I guess so. That exact same scenario. Tides again being defensive. He's drawing his threats fairly late here. The only other than just that one Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake, I feel like, the Ancient Watcher, he sputtered out pretty deep with his hand so far.
It's going in the wrong direction for TidesofTime because he is defensive and Reynad can do whatever he wants.
More armor.
More armor, definitely.
That's the only answer.
I mean, they're made to fit, so to speak.
Yeah. I think he
for this specific scenario.
He just needs to get to 45 armor. That should be his goal this game. Not even
he
win.
He might be able to win by fatigue if that's the case. Because he has a way to disable Jiraxis as well, and as long as he always keeps Gromosh as a threat. I mean, that's why I'm always a big fan of keeping Gromosh, even though you can always use it in spots of removal.
Yeah.
I think keeping it as a threat is always something so scary for Handlock, even though it's favored in this matchup.
Do you think that's what he's thinking about? Armor?
Armor?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not necessarily armor, but just he's keeping in mind as the game develops, having Gromosh in the hand and being able to maintain high health is really important, for sure. He does open himself up to Hellfire if he attacks into this 1/2 slime, but at the same time he's lowering his own health. There's still other big creatures. You can slam down Baron Geddon.
Do you slam down Baron Geddon here?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Well, you actually can. You're getting so much armor anyway.
It's another big creature that he has to use Siphon Soul if he has it. And he's going to spend most of his turn dealing with it through Hellfire anyways.
This poor Ancient Watcher, it's just like shown up and it's just getting beat up since we can't even, it's just helpless, can't even do anything.
He's still watching.
It's like, dang it, leave me alone.
All right. So there is a Mountain Giant, doesn't change anything. There is being a Hunter for this Geddon, which is fantastic for Tides, but still very close to lethal range.
So it's let's see, it's a Hellfire BGH turn, and then how do you follow? Do you tap? Do you just do you pass? Do you have enough life to play Molten Giant? No, I don't think.
Well,
so.
if you're gonna play Mountain Giant, you're gonna have to be life tapping at some point. But so you're life tapping, you're putting yourself in risk. He's right now he's 1 out of Grommash range if his opponent's got Cruel Taskmaster.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, your opponent has
Well, Hellfire actually does damage to you as well.
Oh, you're right. So he'd be at 16.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do that, there's not really much reason I think to not life tap.
Okay.
because if there is anything to activate Grommash, he's still there.
Unless you just play Mountain. No, you can't play Mountain BGH. You still be in range, right? Yeah.
Well, you know what? In the situation where you're dead either
Unless you
way,
Soulfire.
He could Sun Fury his big game hunter.
Oh, or he can Soulfire, right? He could Soulfire.
Yeah, he definitely
So he
could. I don't think you want to Soulfire here though, because it's just going to discard your Jiraxis and then.
It's actually a pretty high risk at that stage, right? So then if you tap Mountain Giant BGH and then Soulfire, you increase the chances. I mean, he's got to do something.
Yeah, he's got about 8.5 seconds left. So if he does this, I think he's not life tapping this turn.
Yeah, Hellfire BGH. I mean, it's all about what he does with his remaining mana here. Oh man, that animation. Taking a while.
Wow. Is he lagging a little bit?
No. He was thinking about it.
The Armor Smith was just triggering.
Okay.
Alex
my.
Not too important right now. I mean, it's just a big body. I think that's really the most important part about it right now.
But
Well,
it's a big
BGH
body
was
that
just
can't be
used.
removed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Another threat. I mean, this is what Warrior does so well. It just keeps dropping bombs.
Yeah.
And it just asks the questions that need to be answered at these late stages of the game. And there's no direct answer to it.
Yeah. He's going to be able to play 2 Molten Giants this turn, but again, I'm pretty sure that's actually just lethal.
Well,
He got
Defender of
Defender of Argus.
11, 12, 13, plus 4. Oh, okay, so he's going to stay alive for another turn here. This is actually a pretty problematic. That Defender of Argus, it being a Defender of Argus actually matters a lot. Picks up Brawl.
But do you brawl? Attack at the free.
If the Molten Giant survives, you are in big trouble.
Yeah, you have no way to deal with
Well,
that.
you're kind of in big trouble anyway. I mean, just look at this board state. Like, what else do you do here that's like not big trouble for you? Like, the fact that this was Defender of Argus instead of Sun Fury Protector really matters a ton right now because he doesn't have a way to just steal a single point of damage.
What about attacking with Alexstrasza into the Molten Giant?
Oh
and
man, here
Here
comes
we go.
a big
It's a
moment.
Nip Sprawl too. He didn't even attack first.
What is happening?
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
So a pretty reasonable
Yep.
outcome, I think. This is, I mean, definitely more than the Molten Giant or the Alexstrasza, but I don't think this is really like a fantastic position for him right now. Obviously, if he draws a Whirlwind effect, he's got a ton of damage. But Power Overwhelming, that I would expect this means he's got some way to burst in here. So Arcane Golem or Leroy Jenkins with a Faceless Manipulator would not be a surprise at this point.
How much attack is in Gorehole right now? Is it 5?
Yep.
Yeah, there's 5 attack for Hell.
No, there's 4.
Is there 4 now?
4.
Is that what Tides of Time is looking at? He's looking at this and going, why isn't it showing me the actual attack on this weapon is?
No matter what, even if he has Cool Taskmaster, whatever attack is it, whether it's 4 or 5, he dies. He's at 14 health.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a Taunt Giver. Tapping is always a very scary moment. Jiraxis from this position doesn't really heal much. You're still in threat to die to that Taskmaster, so it's either tap for an answer directly or play a Giant and cross your fingers here.
He's thinking about so-faring his own face to play Molten Giant.
No, he's not.
Really? I mean, he could.
And then play Jiraxis.
He's definitely not thinking about that.
Wow.
That would. I don't know. Maybe he is thinking about that.
I mean,
I don't think that he is.
What if he is, guys? Like, let's realistically level here. What kind of play does that do?
Well, it gets rid of possibly your Molten Giant or your Jiraxis, which both of them are pretty bad.
He doesn't have any ways to be defensive, and Tides is worried about Reynad just straight up killing him, although we know Reynad doesn't have the answer at the moment.
Well, because of no answers, just drop those cards.
You gotta
while
drop
they
the
trigger
Giant.
Molten
I think I dropped the Mountain Giant here first. Yep. Oh, he's not going to. Wow.
At the last moment of the
12,
roll.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
And now Reynad can win this game if he
actually,
gets anything to
Taskmaster?
activate.
This is actually, okay, so 12, 16, 20, this is 23 points of damage for Tides next turn.
And that's 24 health if he armors up.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is so close.
Was Reynad, Reynad also has been saving his Harrison Jones, and he obviously knows Jiraxis is in play, but if he played that earlier in turn, would he have had the chance to kill as well?
I don't know if he's had actually time to play.
He did. On the previous turn, he played Brawl and armored up.
4-8, so you have 9. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Wait, if he attacks and plays a weapon, he's dead.
He has to armor up, right?
Yeah, he has to armor up to survive.
But I think he's gonna armor up. He's gonna armor up. There's no reason to play the weapon. It's the same exact attack. You just have one charge.
This does take away a lot of his burst, though. Tide's going to feel really comfortable in a trade scenario here.
Oh, man.
So, oh, my God. He can steal Grommash with
wow,
overwhelming
he can steal it. Wait, how much damage is this?
Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's at the end of turn, so it doesn't matter the match, but...
Oh, you're right. It's not an immediate steal.
Oh, my gosh. That's disgusting.
That's crazy. That's why he's playing Power Overwhelming. The synergy with Sylvanas is very nice. All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Does
he not see it? I don't think he sees the play.
No, he can't. It steals at the end of the turn, so the Grommash wouldn't go until afterwards.
Yeah. Also,
are you saying that you should do that regardless?
Yeah, you should just take the Grommash from your opponent.
19.
I guess unless you're worried about your opponent playing their own Sylvanas. We've already seen Sylvanas this game, though. Your opponent has no way to take back the Grommash. Yeah, he should be using Sylvanas Power Overwhelming here.
Okay.
Like if you use like what else? What can you possibly die to?
Ragnaros.
That's only a 3-attack weapon, though.
Yeah. So you have to just steal it and just go face.
Jiraxis would be, I think, just like easily a mistake here. I think you go for the Sylvanas, you use the Power Overwhelming, sacrifice that 4 points of damage, but no, I don't like this one bit. I think this is strictly worse than the Sylvanas play. It's really sweet. I mean, obviously he wants to make him face Jiraxis.
Oh, you face Jiraxis.
And he will trade, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, he's just gonna go ahead and absorb that 10 damage. Just let himself die.
Why not?
Oh man.
Well, he's not dead.
Exactly, because I believe his paws belong in the museum,
wow.
guys.
This is so many cards.
And
There's a Ragnaros, by the way.
Exactly what he wanted.
And I'm just like, what on earth is going to happen if he drops his Jiraxis instead? And it's a lot less about which play is better. It's just like 10-5 charge, and your opponent has like nothing left. So I think what's coming into effect is he's thinking about execute, because I don't think he's actually seen one.
That's
that came up into that point.
At the very beginning of the game with the.
Oh yeah, you're right. So that's the one he's seen. Obviously, he's thinking about like shield block and shield slam, and then of course big game hunter. Those are the things that he's thinking about. I think when he chooses to play Jiraxis.
And he wasn't thinking about Harrison Jones at all. Like
no, not at all.
Yeah, because you give up like your big Sylvanas and Power Overwhelming. That's burst. And at the same time though, you want a good post Jiraxis hand. Like you want like a hand that, because Jiraxis you don't get the life tap anymore. You're stuck, with 6/6 Infernals.
Oh no!
But you need cards that synergize with it. So having like Sylvanas and Power Overwhelming to boost up the board, he wanted to have a good hand too.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. He didn't play around Harrison Jones at that stage. So all those factors led to what ultimately became the game-defining decision, which is unfortunate because it was a little anticlimactic based on what happened there.
I think it was super climatic.
One player just gets blown out.
Yeah, it's like, it was really tense. Oh, I guess he just loses then.
You know what? I'm super happy anyway because we're.
And get one step closer to possibly advancing from group stage. I don't know. Miracles can happen.
Yeah, it's a Gadget Zan in the opening hand. So
that's a good card to get in Miracle Rogue.
Definitely primed position already.
Is Lotheb important to keep at all?
No.
Not when I have Gadget Zan, I don't think it is.
You want the spells.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already limited on cards because you don't have coin.
Right.
Makes sense to me.
You also want the low mana minions. Like you want SA7. You want a Farseer if you run it, because deal as much damage early as possible. Also deal with those small minions that will be spawning the board from Reynad's side. This hand is actually pretty decent with Farmers Smith and Acolyte of Pain.
I want to ask you guys. Yeah,
really pain.
You're already looking at what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Tides looks like he is distraught over that previous game in his current situation at the moment. I mean, he looks like he's stressed here.
Something else that could be the case is that he might be trying to send this signal to Reynad. He's like, I have a good hand, but it's not a Gadget Zan good hand. So I don't know if I should mulligan for Gadget Zan or keep these mediocre minions. So he might be wanting Reynad to like keep Fiery War Axe here and then have it just get absolutely no value in this spot.
Well, what's important is that Tides of Time knows exactly what's in Reynad's deck, but on the other hand, Reynad will probably is not sure which version of Miracle Rogue it is.
Yeah,
that definitely matters.
Be too true.
Yeah,
for sure.
I like
even if you see it like a Cloud9 member, you guys actually bring your own decks and disagree on a lot of deck building choices. So it's like even if you see like Kalento or even if you brought Miracle, that's no guarantee what Tides is bringing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Everybody has a unique style and bringing different decks.
I like how all the basic cards are not golden, but like everyone's other cards are golden.
Well, it's because you can't have them as golden. You have to actually get to level 60. So
It's just funny to me. Reynad choosing to use no golden cards. Actually, he doesn't want. He wants to have no distractions.
all or nothing for
Yeah.
Reynad. That's just how it is.
He liked the golden cards before.
Oh well, you know he's picking up some really nice, plays in the mid game, and as we saw before, he did choose to keep Lotheb, which I think is actually a pretty strong keep overall, because you need to be able to leverage a lot of the board sometimes. But that's if Warrior has a slow start. Fortunately for him, he's like one cool Taskmaster away from getting bullied here.
Yeah.
There's so many interesting card combinations here because, well, TidesofTime has Gadgetzan and double preparation, which is fantastic, and a backstep as well. But on the other hand, Reynad has Brawl, which is one of the ways that Warrior can deal with Gadgetzan, which is concealed. And he has Ragnaros, which is also one of the cards that's super hard to deal with when you're a rogue. Like, when you sap Ragnaros, it just comes back and deals 8 points of damage again.
Well, I mean, that's it's not a bad draw at all, just considering that your opponent just spent his turn playing Lotheb. And you also still have a board, and you also develop a weapon during the process while gaining a little bit of life. This is a great start for Reynad so far, but like anything, it doesn't matter if it's how you start, it's how you finish, because Miracle Rogue has 1 or 2 turns where it explodes and you die.
That's what she said.
That was tough.
Is that what she said?
That's how you finish.
You have some weird bedroom stories, Honorable Man, if that's what you...
Was missing a
Listen,
screw, man.
They were
attack.
out of stock. He called the store manager. It just didn't work out.
All right, there is a Violet Teacher, guys.
Well, I mean, more specifically, he has...
I'm looking at the
lot of
Gadgetzan auctioneer. I mean, you can
yeah.
make a lot of 1/1s all you want while he's got that weapon
He's
up.
got double prep, but he also has Drake backstab.
Yeah, he's not under a lot of pressure. I think this is a fine time to just wait. Like, using the backstep here, not really that big of a consequence to him. He's already drawn a card off the Azure Drake, so he gets the card he would have drawn off backstep anyway. And he's trying to deny his opponent the ability to really, like, they already have enough cards. I mean, you don't want them to just continue to go and be able to, like, recklessly use stuff.
Double armor smith value.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Reynad doesn't have that much life. Well, just 1 point of armor, even if he has double armor smith, it doesn't look that bad for Tides at the moment.
Well, here's the thing, though. You have armor smith to start gaining back health, and then you have coin Ragnaros, which can put on a lot of pressure. But then, I guess at the same time, if they have the sap with the Gadgetzan, you're in trouble too. Let's see what he gets off this the shield block first, though.
Iron Beak, a nice card to get against Edwin Van Cleef.
Actually gonna go for the shield sim here. I kind of like this actually, because your weapon's still here to threaten stuff. This is like proactive development. And so next turn, this Baron Geddon is like not only gonna threaten like stuff that's gonna hit the board, but it's just gonna be like a gigantic like imposing threat.
You think Baron Geddon's coming out? Not. Oh, I guess when there's 2 targets.
It's gonna depend here. So
well, now he has a very clear
like,
use of Baron Geddon before. Like I thought he was gonna maybe push out Ragnaros because the sooner you can get it out, the better. But
yeah, I mean, I think if you hadn't seen this, like if you'd seen like Gadgetzan Conceal or something, you probably would have done it that way.
Oh man, this is so much armor. Right. And this armor
you're
smith will
laughing
stay
at her pain.
I just like seeing armor smiths like just trigger like when like nothing's happening, but it just takes forever for the armor smith triggers to clear.
Yeah, frothing berserkers, acolytes.
That's actually a second excellent Baron Geddon play by Reynad. The last game he was also able to get a lot of armor and clear the board.
Like the health is very relevant considering if you clear the board, then Miracle might just run out of damage. But here comes the Gadgetzan train.
Cold Blood is not that exciting.
He's got a board clear as well, and the Blade Flurry first does actually remove 1 more armor that your opponent would gain. So you do that before Eviscerate or anything else.
Yeah, but again, this is so painful.
6 armor to Blade Flurry. Oh man.
You don't really have much of an option though, do you?
No sir.
It's more of a cycling effect than it is anything else.
Yep.
Conceal.
Right.
Wow.
But I mean, does conceal?
It's important. He will be able to conceal the Gadgetzan, and there are no minions on board.
I guess, but does he want to do that instead of develop another? Like, say if you prep here and then you push out Van Cleave, but I guess, like, how important is it to get the draws versus get damage against Warrior?
I think right now he is looking for draws. I think he's going to try to pick up the rest of his deck in the next turn or so.
Oh, I guess he could do both, actually. He can Van Cleave and then conceal.
Yeah, but then you don't deal...
With Baron Geddon.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You can just play Van Cleave next turn. I think at this point he needs to focus on making sure his hands are...
Oh,
yeah, I lied.
He's willing to take damage, I guess, to start putting damage back. Tit for tat. Oh, it's a tough situation.
Gosh.
10-10.
Definitely is a lot.
So let's see if Reynad Alexstrasza's and pushes the opponent down to 8.
I think you
No,
brawl.
Oh no, wait, no. If he Alexstrasza's and then he has Gorehowl next turn, but then are you afraid of Farseer of healing it back up?
Once you brawl, you just attack for 7,
It's tough.
play Iron Beak, silence your Geddon.
He's got a lot of different lines of play here. That's
Oh,
really
That's
sort of
another cool play too. I didn't think about that. Mitch.
that's it. The gist of the suggestions here is that he's just got a lot of different stuff he can do.
I would not
3 very different lines.
want him to put trust in RNG unnecessarily though.
Coin Ragnaros, go.
No.
just as a Reynad fan, just as a Reynad
Reynad
fan.
has great RNG. Nothing has ever
This
gone wrong
series-
for Reynad in a
This
spot where he's
series,
relied on that.
RNG has been pretty to Reynad.
It hasn't
Like,
been,
it's, the
something hasn't
mistress
been
has
bad.
finally come home for him. One thing that is interesting is if he just chooses throw down Ragnaros, based off the order of the cards played, he does have a chance to snipe Van Cleave. Because Barongan's ability does activate before Ragnaros.
Yeah, but
Just-
we don't
just throwing
to snipe it anyway, right?
What about
Yeah, I'm
playing?
saying, did you know, fun fact.
What do you
Yeah.
guys think about Alexstrasza?
You can throw that under a Snapple cap.
coin
welcome.
Alexstrasza into Tides, then attack with Geddon, put
Right,
them
and
to
then
8,
put him at the 8 health.
and
But then,
Geddon 6.
but then you have Gorehowl to kill him. But the
You're worried
problem
about
is-
if you die on the backswing. Your opponent's
Right.
got 14 points of damage on the board right now, and one of them's an auctioneer. Like, you are definitely worried about like the thought of dying.
But you're at plus 30 health, right? You're at
Well,
35 health.
Your opponent's only got 14 of it, though.
33.
And they're going to have 9 mana drawing cards openly.
I
Go
like Alexstrasza.
Oh, gosh. Wow. I mean, it's a good play for sure because he's setting up lethal next turn, but this is one of those turns where now Todd puts together a good series of draws. This game is really going to be just
Can't backstab
Oh,
anything.
wow.
That's actually interesting.
That's really important. I wasn't even thinking about that. That makes a really big difference.
to get an extra. Well, he still has Shiv to get an extra card while still being able to play other things as well.
He needs 18 points of damage. He has
He needs to kill both these creatures or return both of them to him with tap or some way to deal with them.
So right now he's got 9, 19. He's got 23 right now.
Okay,
he needs 10 more. He needs 9 more.
okay, Sap's
Sap.
pretty decent.
That is okay.
Auctioneer's not good right now.
Okay, here's a problem too. He needs to heal up. So that takes up 3 more mana. So he only has a few more spells he can play.
Oh, you know, he's already seen Gorehouse. That might be like something he's
Yep,
already actively
yep.
thinking about.
He needs to heal with this Farseer right here. And I think he will. Because he has Guide Stand number 2.
Yeah, he's already got. Wow, he's got 2 Cold Bloods too.
Okay, now Reynad needs to draw a way to deal with this. He has two Iron Beaks, by the way.
He's got Brawl too.
He's got Iron Beak Brawl.
Wow.
Does Iron Beak win as much as Armor Smith does in the Brawls?
I like
Man,
Iron
you just
Beak.
gotta dual wield those weapons, the Fiery War Axe and the Gorehowl, and chop his head.
Maybe in the future we'll get a dual wielding warrior hero.
That could be a possibility as well.
So you Iron Beak and Brawl. That makes a lot of sense. Or
And
either
then you
Brawl-
have Fiery War Axe to kill whatever's left.
or maybe you just Brawl here and then Iron Beak whatever.
That is also a possibility, but what difference does it make then? You might get the 3/3 and you don't have to Iron
Yeah,
Beak.
the difference is that sometimes you can just like when you
You
play the
win.
Owl, you will win the Brawl 25% of the time. That's the difference
Right.
it makes.
Well, we have
But-
double all, so.
Well, here's the thing. If you Brawl before you Owl, then you have a chance to armor up. But if you Owl afterwards, you have a chance for it to survive and then Fiery War Axe, whatever. You don't have
I'd
to use
go
Fiery
with
War
the
Axe.
Owl. I definitely would go with the Owl.
All right. Get in there, Owl. Good luck and have fun.
The Brawl is real.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what comes out, but he preferred the Owl survives. But the medium result happened.
The All is dead, and Reynad will drop to 15 points of health.
But the question remains, Miracle Rogue looks like it doesn't have the burst damage from hand. It has the board control. Unless he just sneaks in the Leroy here. We have seen players.
Oh wow.
Oh wait, is this it? This is 12,
That's
15.
11, 15, 16, 17,
That's-
18, 19, 20.
No!
Oh my God,
I
a
think
small
that
decision
this
like that.
game
That's it.
just got thrown away on a very small decision. And I certainly disagree with the decision too, because he's going to have lethal with Ragnaros and the axe swing next turn anyway. So this misstep, pretty important here, and that's going to
Wow.
be really bad news. Tides of Time going to tie this series up at 2 games to 2. One very small misstep.
Tides of Ties.
That was a disaster.
Yeah, I think it looks like a small misstep, but actually I think that's a blunder.
Oh, I mean, he'll be the first to admit it.
That might
He
be,
should've killed off the
if he
Farseer.
wins the series, that's just extraordinary.
No, this should have been the end of the series.
Yeah,
I think it should have been
I
by
think
any
it should have
means.
been.
Miracle Grow can't kill from the hand without a charger, and he had 2 Cold Bloods that would have been sitting useless.
Yeah.
He would have to put it on his Gadget and Auctioneer to draw.
He did have an Auctioneer, so he's going to see some card draws,
Right.
but like,
But
I mean, it's the difference between like losing that turn and then like potentially winning the game next
Can
turn.
you be sure that the Cold Bloods are there?
No, you can't,
it's-
but it's
there's
certainly a part of the range that you
Violet
consider.
Teachers, they generate damage based off their tokens. And
They
Cold
do
Bloods.
like Cold Bloods,
That's how
yeah.
they do. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
And now we go to the Tide series, and I guess it's time to see what Shaman deck's about. Reynad teases in an interview that he thinks that this is, in his opinion, the best deck in the tournament.
Well, the thing is, like, if Rogue doesn't get a Gadget-san, this is a very bad matchup for the Rogue. But if he does, if he gets the Gadget-san, it's a fantastic.
No. He said the Lava Burst with
The
double
Lava Burst
Doomhammer was awful. I think it's because Reynad's he's saying Shaman's actually one of the most underrated classes at the moment. People write it off. Now, it's going to be tricky because Rogue has the coin this time around. Oh, but he does have Loatheb. That was something that Reynad was missing in the previous game with Warrior.
And there is no Gadget. Wind
Okay,
Speaker.
so I knew about this deck, and that's partially because he loves Wind Speaker.
What the heck?
Quote, he says, Abusive Sergeant is the best card in the game. And then he said, second quote, Wind Speaker is the second best card in the game.
I don't know if I'm buying this. I feel like just Wind Fury is better, but
Well, how about this?
I could be wrong.
Would you like 2 mana 3/3s?
Reynad just invented new Shaman.
I do like 2 mana 3/3s, but when you have to attach the where you must cast Wind Fury with them, it's not quite the same.
All right, well, this is exactly the conversation I had. I swear that I was like, dude, you might as well just play Wind Fury, and you can even have spells, and like you get synergy with it and whatnot. And he's like, no, man, Wind Speaker.
Honestly,
Second best card in the game.
we could argue about Youthful Brewmaster the same
Oh,
way.
well, he gets another Searing Totem, too, and that's making Reynad pretty unhappy at the moment.
I don't really feel like the totems matter too much here. Like, I think I would actually prefer for them to be like Taunt Totem and Searing Totem. I think are the 2 best ones you're going to make. Healing Totem, obviously, it's a little bit of trouble for them to deal with, but you are preventing damage from your opponent. You're dealing a little bit of damage. You know, when
But you're losing board, and you
you are
want
losing
to
the board.
develop the board.
You certainly do, but he doesn't have Flame Tongue right now. He doesn't have like a a Feral Spirit, so it's not really like that. It's not even really consequential that it's getting to this point.
What's really important is that TidesofTime still doesn't have the Gadget-san Auctioneer. And without Gadget-san, you will just run out of cards at some point.
Well, yes and no. I mean, this hand is definitely really stacked. With a Shiv and an Azure Drake, he's going to have a lot of cards put together. And then I imagine this game he's going to look for some sort of Edwin Van Cleef conceal turn. He's just going to go with Edwin Van Cleef. I don't like this Van Cleef right now because you're just playing into Urshock and into Hex, which is just like your opponent hasn't done anything. He's so likely to have those
Yeah,
cards.
he has reactive cards for sure.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good pickup too, because he wanted to Azure Drake or drop something, but instead now he can play 2 minions, and Shaman needs to start going back to work on the board.
Yeah, but being TidesofTime, you also prepare yourself to play Azure Drake. You want your opponent to invest into killing Edwin, and you also are risking it that there is no answer to Edwin. But there is one, there is Urshock.
That's a good point, though. Your opponent does have to invest in Edwin. Like, they don't have Urshock here. They do have to use like a Hex or Rock Bite or Lightning Bolt.
And you know, this Edwin is going to kill the totem anyway.
Well, it is, but you know, at the same time, Bro can deal with it pretty easily. He has Blade Flurry in hand, by the way. That's a really big MVP card.
God, this turn looks tough, actually.
Yeah, you normally just
Think
play
so.
Azure Drake to get a card, but maybe there's something else.
Well, the problem with Drake and nothing else, Fire Elemental just kills the Drake next turn.
That's all I'm thinking about, too.
Not
Two Wind
Wind
Speakers?
Speakers?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Look, I had this conversation. I told you. I tried telling him no.
Okay, one Wind Speaker is like, yeah, I see what's going on here. 2 of them is like, I
He
don't know.
says consistency is key, and I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
This deck is not consistent.
that is that
But
same way.
Reynad, he said he won 14, 15 games in a row, and he ended up ranked 3 in North America with his deck.
Well, if
that's his deck.
If he uses Rock Biter on this Fire Elemental and then Wind Speaker and just
that
deal 18,
I mean, that makes a big difference. That's a lot of damage that comes across the board. It's just I don't think I've ever seen that card played outside of Arena. It's like such a shock to see it. But, you know, this kind of goes along with the stuff we were talking about earlier in this tournament, too, where so deep into this metagame, we're still seeing innovation take place. And look at how much that Tides is actually valuing using this Cold Blood right now. The second Azure Drake pickup along with the Earthring Farseer, he's going to look to press the board.
He doesn't have a choice, actually, because of no gadgets, and the only route for him to win this is to just deal damage, and he is running out of cards.
Shade of
All right.
Naxxramas also.
Are you starting to get it a little bit
This
here?
is definitely a very different Shaman deck, I think, than anyone is used to at this point.
It's a combo Shaman deck.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be oriented around mid to late game bursts. If he rolls high, oh, he does.
Oh,
That's
wow.
another big moment because he can save the Rockbiter now, and he has a Wind Speaker to start doing some major damage.
Well, this is very, very
Tides
unexciting.
is really wishing he had a weapon and a blade right
Yep.
now. Oh, he's one man off of the Panda Knives, too.
Yep, and it grows bigger. And, I mean, if he picks, Hex,
Hex is not bad.
I feel like
not
this is
bad.
a Lothep turn.
let's see, if you Lotheb,
Well,
I
there's a
guess
couple
it's a
choices.
5/5, and your opponent can't really deal with it. But you want to save it for the Auctioneer, too, don't you?
Yes and no. I mean, I think with a hand like this, you just want to start applying pressure, too.
I mean, this is also not the normal.
Yeah, I mean,
Shaman deck,
I don't.
I mean-
It's hard for me to really say what the right or wrong play is. I obviously have never seen anything like this.
Which is why he was so happy to show. This is why he thinks he has the best deck in the tournament, because most people won't know how to play against it. Even if you know, like, the matchups actually change a lot.
This
Like, I
is
was
why
like,
I can't wait for Goblins versus
because it's like, what's actually good against this deck? I don't know.
Oh, Battle Frog's getting in there. Bam! Look at that 4 points of damage from that frog.
I'm just shocked. I'm just thinking about Reynad not attacking that Farseer only to show us this deck in this particular
Is that what it
matchup.
was? Reynad wanted to show off his deck building?
That's a fantastic deck. I like it. Like, people did cut Wind Fury from the Shaman decks long ago, so seeing something like this is surprising.
This is
That's
somewhat
18 points of
amusing.
damage right now. It's just funny.
It makes me sad that this is the last major tournament with Naxxramas and an expert set with so much innovation. Like, this deck coming from Reynad, Mage deck coming from Strifecrow. I heard Dark Monix also had a very interesting Paladin deck. So still, innovators are doing it. They're bringing new stuff to those tournaments.
I'm yet to be convinced. I'm not convinced yet.
Abusive Sergeant is a replacement for Rockbiter, in case it ever gets tight. He might even use Wind Fury here to clear both the board. Yeah.
I mean, it's getting some work done. It's,
But
I mean,
he's got
it's
two
funny.
Now, this is a moment where it's like important because you think there's one Wind Speaker, but guess what? There's more.
I mean, it's
Call now and get 19 off.
It definitely got.
Well,
on
you're
your
not.
next Wind Speaker purchase or your money back.
It definitely got some work done. Tide still has not drawn an auctioneer.
Yeah, this is exactly what happens when you don't have the action here this matchup.
Yeah, he's a little over halfway through his deck. Actually, Firebet did some math on this, and it was like to draw an auctioneer by the 15th card, it was like some absurdly high percent. It was
Like
like over
75.
no, it was like over 90% to draw one by
No
like the
way.
15th card. Yeah,
All
Well,
right.
Reynad's kind of is not that exciting, but it's still better than
it's just
TidesofTime.
strong. It's not exciting. Certainly is not the word for it, but yeah, it's definitely just a strong hand. I think you still just jam Lothep here.
He wants to deal with this creature, though. But I think Lothep is your best course of action.
There is something else to note is that despite the fact that he got a lot of good value from that Wind Speaker, is that he is just running low on life at this point.
Oh man, he only has 12 with the weapon attack here. Or do you even conceal? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Conceal is a little bit better. And at 30 life, he's not getting bursted, that's for sure.
And there are no taunts in Reynad's hand.
I've seen this deck do crazy things.
Well, what can he draw here that does like, I guess like plus, like even like +5/+5
Wait a
would
moment.
only deal 24.
And he wants it to be
damage right now.
taunt for sure. Wow, that's a big
Whoa.
throw.
Totem. That's a very big card to get.
That's super important right now. So
How much damage does he have, by the way? He's got 7, 14, 18 damage right now. And that's if he had Rockbiter, he'd have 24.
By the way,
Just
that's
think about that for a
It's a
second.
lot of damage. I'd be. Look at Tides' face. I knew he was gonna react to this, but it was just
How
like a
could
matter
you
of
not?
how. Yeah.
This deck is ridiculous. Like, this is the point where people are posting the copy pods like, this guy's deck is crazy.
Tides needs 1 point of damage to win this. To be able to deal.
Oh, Violet Teacher.
This is not the card he needed.
Still searching for Gadget Sand. Oh, man. And he can't deal with it. That's going to do it. The Shaman deck has prevailed. But you know what? A lot has to do with Gadget Stan still being MIA and missing his RSVP on Facebook.
Wow.
And you know what? That 25 outer for Reynad. That 25% chance to roll a taunt totem end up being the saving grace as Reynad will take the series.
Oh man, this is what happens when you have equally skilled players just, you know, brawling it out with new decks, new ideas.
Oh,
Good
Windspeaker
decisions.
doesn't even get the killing blow. Come on.
Oh man.
Come on.
That-
Reynad advances to winners round 2, and Tides will drop to the lower bracket. What an explosive start to day number 2.
What a way to win, too.
Yeah, with your own deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, so deep in the metagame at this point. Like, we have seen so much stuff, like, basically set in stone, and this is why, I mean, this is what makes this guy an excellent player is new creations, and leveraging that information against your opponent is like a very strong way to win games, is the unknown.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I would love to be able to create decks like this, like, you know, just sit there, think about those cards, argue with Fraud and Windspeaker.
Oh,
Actually
I argued a lot about this deck, let me tell you. I did argue a lot. Now, the thing is, I want to make a bet of whether or not you think he's actually happy with this win. Because I'm going to argue that Reynad's actually really upset right